already with resource work, even with breath work, the things get deep very quickly. And I keep being surprised by that. I mean, after 15 years doing that, I'm still sometimes surprised. Like, again, after just 4 minutes, we just got really deep with somebody. This is really something that these techniques allow you to do, and which is a key value proposition. Because if it takes like weeks to get somewhere, yeah, well then, you know, you're also not getting the work done in a reasonable time, in my opinion. So there is that value proposition, but that on the other hand, that means that then you have to be able to handle the depth and the stuff that comes there. I used to say sometimes that when people say, yeah, they had a certain experience in their counseling, and then after 6 months they figured out from which trauma or bad experience a certain behavior came. I'm like, that took you 6 months? I'm not saying that that cannot sometimes or may rarely take that long. It's possible, but that is not the normal case. Digging out the bad stuff is rather simple. This is rather straightforward. It shouldn't take that long. And it usually comes itself when you stabilize. One side effect of stabilization is always that because people get more stable, they feel like now they can allow themselves to talk more about the bad stuff. And that is not really a conscious decision. It's not something they kind of, plan, or then, oh, now I feel better, now let's talk about my trauma. It's just something that then comes more to their mind when they get more stable. So stabilization, and when you do that well, that then also means more of the heavy stuff comes up. And it would be a big misunderstanding to then assume, well, we're stabilizing and now the people all are having trauma out of a sudden, or like they're talking about their trauma out of a sudden. It's basically a good sign because it signals higher stability. And that then requires that you are more and more slowing people down on that front and say, let's focus on the stabilization first. So this refocusing on stabilization is a skill you need as somebody who is a stabilizer, so to speak. You need that skill, because else that will overwhelm you, because you're going to be surprised. Like, almost everybody is now going to tell you something very, very, very difficult. And then you'd be like, oh my God. And you need a clear strategy of how to handle this, and that is put it away in this fashion by communication. If that is not enough, you will need containment techniques to bottle this stuff up. And this is why the containment techniques have to belong into the stabilization. It would not be responsible to just teach people stabilization and say, now you're good to go. No, you have to be able to close the box to avoid the trauma at that point in time when you're stabilizing. Very, very, very important, because it's going to come. And again, it's actually a good sign, so to speak, because it shows the stabilization works. Now now all the things are coming. Okay. But leave them to the side now, focus on this. And of course, psychoeducation, if these things now come up when you're at home, use the techniques, use the containment, use the stabilization, and then there has to be a safety net installed that somebody can reach out to a mental health professional if they need that. The seriousness, the attitude, the way to receive the information, the way to get away from it, and then giving the tools to contain or stabilize, or both.